High five, episode 150. Woo! Hey, so on episode 100, we jammed. If you haven't listened to episode 100, go back and take a listen to episode 100. It was really cool. And today we're in our studio, our home studio, basement studio. So we actually didn't go to a podcast recording studio to do it all professionally. We just wanted to come down here in our basement and basement studio and jam. And what the life that I live, I'll talk about that. The life that I live is I spend a lot of time just like creating in my mind, creating content. And when inspiration hits, I open the basement door and walk down here and record an episode or record some content or something. And today that's we want to do that more often. We don't have like this rigorous podcast setup. We'll do something more professional.
We have cats screaming to get in the basement. We have dogs laying at the top of the stairs.
But we literally just wanted to come down here and jam for episode 150. Yeah. So in episode 100, my wife and I, Angie, obviously her.
That's me.
We jammed. And
your wife who lives with you.
My wife who lives with me. Who's really a critical part of my life. We jammed at a studio, and we just wanted to come on here for episode 150 and do it again. And we actually want to do this more regularly, and we're looking for the time and place and the content to do that. But today, I just wanted to bring Angie. We wanted to get on here and jam and talk a little bit about our relationship. And what's been coming up lately is, especially in the Business Freedom Academy, it's how do you run a business with your spouse? So, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but we're going to talk about so much more. Because I think one of the hardest things to do in the world, and one of the most challenging things to do in the world, is to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
The next
harder thing.
The next harder thing
is being the spouse of an entrepreneur, the partner of an entrepreneur, the significant other of an entrepreneur, and watching them flop like a fish sometimes and soar like a bird at others. And but man, that fish flopping stage is rough.
It is rough.
It's rough.
But there's only one more thing more challenging than being the spouse of an entrepreneur. And that's running a business together with your spouse. So if you think that life creates marital spouse, holy shit, when you're running a business together, you should see the kind of spouts that pop up from time to time. But I didn't tell Angie I have a little bit of a game plan for what we're going to do today. And we'll talk a little bit about the running a business with your spouse.
And he has told me nothing about what we're talking about. He said
nothing.
He literally said, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Absolutely. And what I mean by that is,
will this be causing marital conflicts?
It probably will. It probably will. But I got a game plan. And what I want in this episode is for people to get to know you more.
Okay.
And also for people to get to know me more. But at the same time, I don't want to talk about me, and I'm not going to let you talk about you.
Okay.
So we're going to do this thing in a really, really cool way. You ready to roll?
Certainly.
Here's what we're going to do.
Okay.
And I'll give you time to prepare. I want you to explain to them, our listeners, all about me. And hold on. What's a day in the life? Hold on a second. What is a day in the life of living with Mike Kitko? What does it look like? You can start in the morning and go all the way, but talk about the choices, behaviors, likes, dislikes, do's, don't do's, and I'm going to do the same thing.
I feel like this deserves a stage with a theatrical presentation of reenactment.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about because that's a big part of who Angie is, and what she does is she wants to always be on a stage reenacting shit. So there's a dramatic and a sense of drama and some flair in her. And that's what I want to talk about. Yeah. So look, let's just jam. Like what? And I'll go second. What is a day in the life of living with Mike Kitko like? Like they know me from hearing my voice, but let's really unpack who we are as human beings.
So jokingly, of course, I want to say a day in the life of living like Mike Kitko is pretty boring. It's pretty damn boring. But that's the cool thing is we balance each other out. So Mike Kitko wakes up very, very early. Typically we have 2 dogs and 2 cats. Wes, Finn are our dogs, and Latte and Nova are our cats. And our dogs wear diapers, so they get pretty antsy in the mornings. So Mike is the first one up out of bed, and very hyper. He's hits the ground running first thing. I'm a little bit slower in the morning, so I'll wake up.
I'll talk about you. You
Yeah.
just talk about
Well, right, but this is an important piece of this.
me.
I'm slower to wake up in the morning, and I'll come downstairs, and he's our business partner, Kara Dossi. She's coined the phrase Mike monking. So he sits in silence and just sits. So if it's wintertime, he's sitting in, we have a beautiful sitting room in the front of the house. So I'll come downstairs and he'll be sitting on the couch doing he'll have his AirPods in, reflecting on something, listening to an audiobook or meditating. All the animals surrounding him. And it's adorable. I come downstairs and see everybody there, and I can typically tell if I want to go and say good morning to him, or if I'm just like, nope, just move along. And then he's ready to go. If he's been in a creative mood, if he has created something, oh my gosh, he will come in, and the laptop will be set down in front of me. And I know you're not awake yet, but when you're ready, can you read this? Can you read this? Can you listen to this?
Yeah.
Can you listen to this? So that's it. That's the majority of your day, is you sit and reflect. And the reason why I said stage reenactment is because when you've had a creative spurt in the morning, or sometimes, usually when creative spurts happen, he's up at like 3 a.m. or so. That's typically when he's in that serious creative mode. And I can tell.
No alarm.
No alarm. Yeah. And I can tell because I'll come downstairs and I'll see him antsy, and he'll be kind of shaking and moving around. And I know that it's coming. It's read this, listen to this. But yeah. Or you'll have your journal and write, ponder. This is what this is a theatrical presentation. Right. Ponder. Sarah ponder. And it's adorable. So yeah, lots of I think people think we're a lot busier than we really are.
I get that all the time. I know you're busy, but I'm not.
No.
I don't love busyness.
Hey, we would have invited you to this event, but we know you're busy. I'm like, no, I was actually in my pajamas at 7 p.m. with.
I think sometimes people have a great misconception about who we are and our schedules and how busy we are,
and like how much like activity we do on a daily basis. I think that the bulk of our activity is really our fitness activity. That's our activity.
Yeah.
So that's Mike Kitko is very regimented. You're doing better with that, though. You definitely,
good or bad. But
no,
yeah, I go through.
But allowing things to be okay with things not being.
Sure.
So there's a great story that we tell where he used to have this process for making his omelets, and it would be eggs out of the fridge, cheese out of the fridge. It was very militant. Well, one day I put the Swiss cheese back in the cabinet over the stove when I made his omelet for him, and we couldn't find the Swiss cheese for a while, and then. Voila, it showed up.
Angie's not quite as regimented and structured.
Not quite as actually a stretch.
What else?
That's you're really boring.
What are some other things that I love?
You love me.
Very, very much.
You love me.
Absolutely and infinitely.
You love cooking. You love grocery shopping.
Yeah, I do.
You love
very simple man.
You love our animals. You love our kids, although we're empty nesters now, so the kids are not around as much. You love meditating. You love sitting outside. Oh my gosh. I have never seen anyone love to sit outside so much. And I'm not talking about, hey, let's go sit outside for an hour. I will walk out in the summer when it's 95 degrees here in St. Louis, Missouri, with 100% humidity. And this man is baking in the sun. I mean, shirt off, just baking.
And I tan pretty easily.
Yeah, keep bragging.
I don't really burn, but I tan really easily.
Brag some more, sir.
I'm going to keep going. As long as you are, I'm going to keep going.
That's really your loves.
Yeah.
he loves symphony music. He loves his strings on X. I don't want to say the robot's name so it doesn't come on here. You just love quiet. You love peace.
I do. I cherish and value.
That's where, if that's to sum you up, that is the one thing Mike Kitko loves more than anything is peace. He's not a hustler. He's not a grinder. Sometimes I have to push. If I need something in the business, I have to remind him 20 times to do it because just isn't his thing.
Yeah. Busyness is
no.
It's not a glorified act in my mind.
No.
Ooh, anything else?
No.
Okay. So now I'm going to turn the tide. So Angie,
of course, I'm going to think of something later on because there's things I'm missing.
That's okay.
Oh, you love this. You love war documentaries.
I do. I love war history.
And that's one thing that we like television wise, we intentionally watch TV, but documentaries. Oh man, obsessed with war.
Yeah, I love World War I, World War II history. I love Civil War history. I love understanding, the warrior's ethos and what makes a warrior tick.
You love creating. I mean, another piece of this is recognizing. I can recognize when he is in that zone and head down in his laptop and he's just going, and I just know to back up and let him go, and then 3 hours later he'll emerge and got a new book written. It's like,
read this. Read this.
I still haven't read the one from the other day yet.
Right. Here, read this. Let's constantly read this. When our younger daughter Megan she was probably 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah, I was in Oregon.
She started doing this thing where it was like finger crocheting. We called it finger weaving, but it was like finger crocheting. And she had a ball of yarn, and she just always needed somebody to hold the ball of yarn. And no matter what, there was this stretch of time where she was finger weaving all the time. And it was just like,
we were in Lake Billy Chinook. I remember we were camping at Lake Billy Chinook in Oregon.
And you couldn't get away from it. She said, here, hold this.
So we made a song up.
Finger weave and hold this. Because that was the whole week for us. And that's what it feels like with content creation.
Read
to me.
this.
It's like, here,
listen to this. Read this.
I created this. Read this. Listen to this. Have you listened to the last podcast? You're like, no. Of course
no,
not.
my whole life is a Mike Kitko podcast.
So to sum it up, fitness is big.
Yes.
For me.
Oh, he loves running.
Yeah.
He loves running and weightlifting. Those are his big.
My jam. Who do I do those with?
By yourself.
By myself.
Yep. He's a loney. He's a loney cat. So we have a little phrase in our house. I'm not a loney cat. Like this is why I don't like to do things alone. I don't like to talk to a computer screen alone. I don't know how he sits here and stares in this computer and just talks for an hour. I get very awkward doing that, but I'm not a loney cat. He's a loney cat. Other than me.
Yeah.
Other than me and his best friend, Brian Schroeder, like that's it.
Yeah. I love spending time with the few people that I cherish and I value the most. And I love serving everybody else.
Yeah.
But when it comes to spending time, there's very few people that I really actually want to spend a lot of time with. I do want to serve and help a lot of people. And I do want to empower and inspire and lift up other people. But my energy, my time is very, very valuable to me. And I crave peace above everything else. If something comes between me and my peace, it's going to go.
But what's really cool though, is there'll be days where you can kind of see your energy is a little bit lower than normal, but a student or a potential student will call and have something to work through. And he just goes right into that zone. And it's really cool to watch because you can tell you love what you do.
Yeah, I do. So I'm going to turn now. Okay. I'm going to turn if something else pops up.
Okay.
You can feel free to share, but I'm going to turn the I guess, I don't know, not turn the page, but I'll turn the microphone on Angie. Angie wakes up somewhere between 6 and 7 most days. When we don't use an alarm clock, we don't have alarm clocks. So, we have them on our phone, but we don't use them. Angie wakes up 6 to 7. It takes her a really long time to really wake up. And what I mean by that is you probably don't want to speak to Angie for about an hour.
But not in the, I have to have my coffee first.
She's not angry.
Yeah.
She's not grumpy. She's not there's nothing wrong. It's just there's a certain amount of fog that's present first thing in the morning, and she just has a rise time to get herself to collect herself and get herself
I
together.
dream very, very heavily and very,
Deep.
you would think that I took acid every
Yeah,
night.
she tells me about some of the dreams she has, and it's like, how much acid are you taking? Because they're crazy, and I mean, they could be about anything, and spiders, and
Celery stalks growing.
the little mermaid, and the celery stalks, and we're just, we're walking through the forest with our house. I mean, just whatever. It's just the weirdest things, aliens, and but there are no drugs
No,
in
there are no
our
drugs.
life. But I don't really dream. I'm sure I dream, but I don't recall dreams very often. But she recalls all of them, and it's like that first hour or so of the morning is her really just collecting herself. And we're going to talk. After we share. We're going to put these things together a little bit to talk about the journey. She takes a while, and I am a morning person. I am up when my eyes open. I am up, and I am in action.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know if it was the Marine Corps that trained me or what it was, but when the eyes open, it's like we're ready to roll. I'm ready to roll, and it's almost instantaneous.
Yep.
And I get into action, and I have no problems like getting into full momentum. And it takes Angie a little longer rise time. She'll walk downstairs slowly, intentionally slowly, try not to fall, because she falls a lot and she hits her head. She used to hit her head a lot, so now we have to be careful. And I'm surprised we don't have a helmet on her, because she's fallen so many times and gotten so many concussions. But she comes downstairs, she'll sit. Usually she'll sit for a little bit before she has her first cup of coffee. Typically she pounds some water first thing, has a cup of coffee, and and I usually don't give her that long. I'm not that patient, but typically after an hour and a half, you can see that she's kind of in full motion. And we'll sit at the kitchen table sometimes, especially during the winter. We'll sit and we'll just talk about, what do you have planned for the day? Angie asks me that question every day religiously. What's your plan for the day? And sometimes the answer is, I have no plan for the day. Sometimes it's, I've got these 3 meetings. Sometimes it's, I'm making it up on the fly. But Angie uses a paper calendar to keep track of her day, where I use my phone. So there's that difference. But when I say, what's your day look like, she'll open her calendar and she'll start reading off their plans for the day, or what she intends to do. But one thing that's always there, and this has been new over the last 8 years, is the health, the prioritization of health and health activity. And exercise. Angie loves F45, going to F45. It's a fitness studio, and they do some muscle work, a little bit of cardio, it sounds like, but a lot of muscle work and a lot of intensity work. So Angie's gotten a lot stronger from F45, but we also have a Peloton. So on days where there's no F45 classes that she's interested in, she'll go into our room upstairs and jump on the Peloton. So she loves that, and I can hear her in there rocking out to hip hop, and it's funny.
Powered by Wu-Tang.
Powered by Wu-Tang. Angie loves hip hop. She loves hip hop. She loves jazz. She loves a lot of jazz. She loves going to jazz clubs. I don't love going to jazz clubs. I love going to jazz clubs with my wife, because my wife loves going to jazz clubs, and I get to see how much she loves being there.
Oh, I was going through the day. I didn't realize we were talking about that. Okay.
I'm just telling everybody what you love. Yes. So where Angie said, I love classical music, and if it's up to me, I'm going to put classical music on and just kind of have a peaceful environment. Angie wants to hear the most chaotic jazz that you could ever imagine. She loves just things that are just not linear and not predictable, and they're just all over the place. So jazz, and usually she'll put on Dave Brubeck jazz radio on the robot. We won't say, because there's one right there, on the robot, and we listen to jazz in the morning. But we'll have a couple cups of coffee, And then Angie will go upstairs, get changed into her workout clothes, talk, either go to F45 or jump on the Peloton. And then I think the most critical aspect for everyone to understand about Angie is a super social human being. And it used to be 100% of the time she needed to be with people all the time. And over time, that's gone down, and there's been more balance in your life, but you don't go very long without some social activity. Like we just had a friend over today. You just had a friend over, and she was just here, and you two were just jamming and talking about money and talking about business and talking about life and talking about health and things like that. But Angie is very, very intentional about, making sure that she has some socialization in her life, because if she left it up to me, there would be no socialization. But she's very intentional about making sure that she's attending some lunches with some of our clients sometimes, or, having coffee dates with her friends, with her girlfriends, calling people about networking or speaking engagements. Angie is always on the lookout for speaking engagements for me. She basically runs our business. So when she opens up her laptop, she's really looking for, on a daily basis, looking to get an overall picture, an overall view of what our business looks like. Because it is our source, it's our source of income, and it is our lifestyle. So we have created a lifestyle business that allows us to do business wherever we want. And I think that leads to another thing is, you didn't say this, and it's interesting. Angie loves to travel.
But I thought we were doing a day in the life of Mike.
Yep.
That's
and
what
I said, talk about what you
Oh,
love.
yeah.
Angie loves to travel, and she loves to plan travel. She loves to plan travel. And it blows my mind how much Angie loves to research all of these trips. But when there's a trip that's coming up, you can see her excitement to look for Airbnbs, to look for airline tickets, to get great deals and have great options on airline tickets. And we run all of our expenses through the credit cards, where we get miles. So basically we have companion
pass forever.
pass because we travel so much, but we basically don't often travel by ourselves for leisure. Typically there's some business built in. Every once in a while we do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of business built in with.
And that's intentional.
It is very intentional. So we pride ourselves, and when we set a vision a couple years ago, 8 years ago, for what we want our business to look like, we wanted business to merge with life. We didn't want to need to escape our business as we lived our life. I didn't want an on-off switch for the business.
Right.
I just wanted to enjoy the business so much that I never needed to turn it off, and I never needed to escape it. And that's the life that we've built.
Sure is.
It is. And so Angie, her loves, let's see, she calls it, I'm gonna try to remember. She calls it her dress, the way she dresses on a daily basis. We're gonna call it lazy luxury. So Angie wears really high-end yoga pants and fitness attire and clothing on a daily basis. Lazy luxury. Her outfit is not cheap, but at the same time, it's very, very comfortable, and it doesn't look like it's like, anything off the hook. But Angie loves nice things.
I do.
Angie loves quality things. And it's not just, I think there is an element of wanting to not flaunt's not a good word, but your appearance matters to you very much.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't think it's not about flaunting. It's Angie grew up in abject poverty. Yes. And now I'm getting emotional. Angie grew up in abject poverty, where she didn't know where her next meal was coming from. So now that we've created some wealth and some financial margin, it's like, it's not a matter of showing off, but it's a matter of showing up.
Right. I'm not the label. I mean, other than my shoes.
Yeah, she's got a couple. She's got 2 pairs of Louboutin, and there will be a 3rd pair. The point being is,
but like, you won't see me carrying a Louis Vuitton purse with the label splashed all over it. That's not what.
You don't show off, but you definitely show up, and
it's for me. It's not for other people.
Right.
It's because I want to experience that.
And Angie very much is proud of the the life and the business that we've built, and transcending the poverty
yes.
and the abuse and sexual
Yeah.
like assault when you were a kid. And Angie's very, very, very intentional to not hide the success and wealth away. Not a matter of flaunting, but it's
Right.
definitely a matter of showing up and looking good in your appearance.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a level of pride. We had no running water and no electricity for an entire summer when we were living in a crack house, right? So when you get to this,
Not us.
no, not us, my father and stepmother, and step siblings and half sibling. But yeah, when you come from when you've transcended something like that, and there is a level, there are people who choose who transcend that and come out in a way to show off, and it's not for them, it's them showing to everybody else what they have.
Yeah.
And for me, first of all, the expensive yoga pants are for you because they make my ass look really good.
Oh my God.
So that is for you. So say thank you.
And you're welcome. and you get complimented on that
I do.
all the time. And how many times a day does that butt get touched?
A lot.
Yeah. So
25 years
I will say that 25 years in, and I have not lost any of my zing for my wife, if you know what I mean. So if anything, it just keeps going up, and it drives her crazy sometimes. So yeah. But my wife loves nice things. She loves going nice places. She loves experiencing nice things. We used to, whenever we were going to experience something, or whenever we were going to buy something, we used to pride ourselves on always trying to stay in the middle. Like there's something at a high quality, something at a low quality, and we would like try to put ourselves in the middle, and that doesn't happen anymore. Right. We're edging that quality up, and we just keep pushing the needle on that. And it's in the mindset work that we do, is you put yourself in the experience of what you want to experience, and you put yourself in the high quality, and the wealth, like,
and the circumstance follows.
And the circumstance follows. So and I'm not advocating that anybody go out and just buy like, a car that you can't afford.
You almost said Mercedes. Want to go? Let's go. You almost did.
I'm not advocating that you go out and buy a Lambo expecting, $250,000 to show up for you. But when you make sure you are engulfing yourself in quality circumstances, your financial thermostat naturally increases, and as your thermostat naturally increases, then you step into
life gives you the ability to keep up with that. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. We've proven that over and over again. We carry very, very little debt, and we're not real estate investors. We've done some real estate investing. We're surrounded by them. We've funded some real estate investment deals. I know Angie has a passion or an interest, not a passion, not a passion yet, but an interest in doing some flips in real estate. And to me, that sounds like busyness that I don't want in my life. But Angie's interested in that, and always like looking for that next experience to experience, that next interest to explore, that next thing that might light her soul on fire. Where I'm a little more, I know what I love and I stay there. Angie's like exploring what the next chapter is for her.
And which comes from so many years of being in an active addiction and being a stay-at-home mom and not really having a sense of purpose or who I am, or who I am as my value that I contribute. I know what I do for the business, but I've always wanted, well, what can I do? Like, what can I do to contribute? And unfortunately, one of the things I love the most, which was, when I worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, that doesn't align with our lifestyle anymore. I can't work and, be a restaurant manager or work in a restaurant and travel 2 weeks out of the month, which is kind of our average right now.
Yeah.
So that doesn't align with our lifestyle, and our lifestyle is more important. Our business, our life is more important than that. But finding something that I can do that doesn't, and that's what's in my vision, finding other ways to contribute to our net worth without compromising our lifestyle.
Sure. And doing things that we love, not things that we're doing out of obligation. Yes. If there's a sense of obligation, then we don't do it. Right? And again, I'm going to be careful with my words, but Angie and I have reached a point that whether we have a lot of money or a little money, we're going to do it together.
Yes.
And that's the most, here comes the emotion again. That's the most critical element to our relationship. It's our relationship isn't based on the circumstances that we have in our life. Our relationship is our relationship, and we navigate the circumstances that appear in our life. So this is why we've come all the way from, my nose is running because I'm
Yeah.
tearing up
And that's another thing about Mike. He cries a
a
lot.
lot. Yeah,
He's
I
a very
tear up,
emotional guy.
especially when I talk about
Yep.
the things that I love and the people that I love. But when we met, I know Angie had nothing.
I had a 200 credit score.
She had
Give me a little
so
bit of
my
credit.
name was on everything. And I had around $3,000 in my bank account. So everything that we've built together. And it hasn't always been easy, but everything we've built together. And it's because of the and where we are right now is just the power of the bond, the power of the marriage, the power of the relationship, even in those mornings. And I think this is the most difficult thing for me. Those mornings when there's some fog, and there's times where I know that something's off with you, just like you said, that's difficult for me because I personally, I don't want you to struggle in those
Right.
ways, right? So I always try to fix it, right? I'm a man, so I try to fix it. I want to get in there and mix it up and understand what's happening. And Angie's like, just leave me the fuck alone for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. Give me space, time, and that's for a helper, for a partner. Those are difficult times, but you know, we get to navigate that together and understand what the other needs from us at that moment. And sometimes it's just leave me alone.
Yeah. And same, I mean, vice versa.
Yeah.
And I never want to see you struggle. And that's a whole other episode about the love languages.
Yep. There you go. And we talked about that a little bit
We
in
did,
episode
but
1.
we need a whole episode on it.
Yeah. So Angie, the social piece, she's driven. I would say Angie's more competitive and driven than me. You know, I had an athletic background growing up, playing little league, and I was, you know, in the Marine Corps. You know, there was a lot of competition in my life, and my desire to compete and to constantly drive is kind of like, I don't know, that those days have passed, but I feel that Angie is just stepping into that, where the self-worth and the self-value is really starting, the self-esteem is really starting to take root and take place. And it's like, I feel that you're ready to test the limits of what you can do. That's what I feel has happened over the last couple of years, is as your self-worth, self-esteem, self-value grows, so does your willingness and ability to step into new circumstances so that you can really see what's under the hood. And I think you've only really scratched the surface.
Oh, I would say, and as you're saying that, just doing that the podcast, the interview, and the Business Freedom Academy the other day, that was huge for me.
It was
huge.
It was
Just doing even this
Mhm.
this is big.
It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So Angie is very, I'm intense in teaching and coaching. I'm intense in when I'm sharing something. I'm intense when I'm helping somebody. I'm intense when I'm trying to give someone a nugget. When I'm intense in those moments. Angie is typically intense, like at all times. And I don't mean, I'm not saying it's at a destructive level or whatever, but there's a certain fire in Angie that really doesn't shut off except when she sleeps. And sometimes when she sleeps, it's there because that's where the dreams come from. But there's a certain intensity, and there's times where I'll just say something and it's like her tone goes from a volume, or her intensity goes from a 2 to an 8, and it just spikes, boom, and then just comes back down. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, that was completely unnecessary. But you know, it's always just there, and you never know when that spark is going to hit, and that intensity, and it's not an attack, but it's a
Get shit done, man.
It is. She's going to get your attention. There's no doubt about it. So it's almost like, for someone who craves peace all the time, those little spikes of intensity is like, whoa, wait a minute. You just took away my peace, but you didn't. You were just Angie Kitko.
Yeah, no, I had to ask you for how many times did I have to ask you we have an event coming up in New Orleans next week, and I needed him to create, he's the creative director.
Yeah.
And I needed him to create our little name tag. And I told him exactly what to do. Fleur de lis, just a nice fleur de lis for the name tag. 4 days in a row. Mike, did you get the name tag me? Mike, did you get the name tag me? Finally today, I got
How long did it take me to make that?
15 minutes.
Yeah, not even that.
No, not even that. Yeah, that was an Angie Kitko
and,
exaggeration.
that's why I don't do things right away, because when I do something, it takes me 5 minutes. So I'm like, there's no rush for this. I got 4 days. why would I do this now when I got 4 days? I want to have it done like that. So, but so yeah, I don't believe there's any I don't procrastinate. I just don't do things until I need to do them, because when I need to do them, they get done quickly. So, but it works for me, and it always has worked for me. It's just never on anybody else's timeline.
Just write your tasks down. Just
No,
write your tasks
no,
down.
I don't want that kind of
If
structure.
you would have written that down, it would have gotten done.
How about this? I don't want that kind of structure in my life, right? I want the kind of structure in my life that I want. And that's based on personal development and personal growth, and finding my peace and my center and my balance every day. That's where I want my structure. So, and the working out, right? And the physicality of life.
Yeah.
So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to wrap this up, or bring this thing to a meeting point. We couldn't have described two more different people.
Correct.
How the hell do we make this work?
Now you're going to make me cry.
Keep going.
Just, I love you more than anything in this entire world.
What the old way, the old Mike and Angie, describe that.
Oh, the old Mike and Angie was trying to force the other person to be who they wanted them to be. And we talked about that in episode 100, right? Where we talked about me trying to get you to be this person to plan these extravagant vacations and pick the dresses out and plan the fancy parties,
date nights
and all of these things. But we would try to, and you would try to force me to be who you wanted me to be. But that goes back to why would I want the person that I love more than anything in this world to experience any sort of struggle? Mm-hmm. Like, why would I want to put that on you? Right. Unspoken expectations or premeditated disappointments.
Yep. And
resentments.
Yep.
So that's, we have just 25 years, and this drives me crazy. Is people ask how we got to where we are, and then I tell them, and they like, nope, that's bullshit. I don't subscribe to that theory. Yeah. Like looking for the way, looking every day, how are you showing your love for me? How are you showing it in a way that is authentic and true to you, and vice versa, right? Instead of, oh, he's not doing this, so he's not showing me love. No, it's how do I'm going to look for the ways you do show me love. And sometimes those are smothering. Sometimes those are overwhelming. Sometimes that is overbearing. But I know that that's how you're showing your love for me. And
I think for me, when we go back to the love languages, and Angie and I basically said the love languages as they're written, they're beneficial for you to understand your love language. Mm-hmm. But understand, for us, yes, what we've learned is it's important for me to know my love language and for her to know my love language, so that when I'm giving her love in that way, she recognizes, yes, that that's my way to issue love. Yes. Instead of, you need to know my love language so you can be that for me. Correct. Right. So now I'm asking you to be somebody different, somebody that you aren't, and stretch yourself into a role that you were never genetically meant to take on. Making choices, beliefs, opinions, doing things that you wouldn't have naturally done. I'm asking you to be somebody different for my benefit, so I can to make me feel okay. Yeah. The love languages for us is, I have a love language. My number one love language is touch. And that's why I touch her butt, and that's why I give her hugs, and that's why I don't enjoy when we walk by each other without touching. Like that's really important to me, because my love language is touch. My second love language is service. I love cooking, and I love cooking for my family. And there's such a joy. There's such fulfillment when somebody in my family asks me to cook their favorite meal, and I get to go out and grocery shop for them, and I get to put that meal together, and then I'll clean up after them. And none of that's hard for me. None of that's so fulfilling, because I've just taken care of my family in a way that lights me up. And it's authentic and true to who you are. And it's an act of service, and that is my way of showing love. Angie's love language is time. Mm-hmm. It's time. And that's why she wanted me to plan date nights and to plan events and to plan surprise parties and to go out and to do these things, because her number one quality of life or love language is time. So spending quality time together is critical to her. And now I love cooking for the family, and I'm always offering and waiting for that. And when she's ready to connect, she puts something on the calendar. And when she says, "Hey, we're going to go, we're going to go to Jazz St. Louis and see a show," I'm like, "Got it, awesome."
Yep.
And is this okay? Do I look okay? Right? Is it okay to wear this?
Is this black shirt okay to wear today?
Yeah. Or Jazz St. Louis, the
Fox.
theater, travel, going out to get, last night we went out to get a burger. Angie loves cheeseburgers. Holy crap, this girl loves cheeseburgers. And there's one great cheeseburger in the St. Charles area that we're always down there, and we're regulars and we're always there, and they know what we like to eat and they know what we like to drink, and it's really cool. So, but those are the things that we love. And this is the most, for me, this is the most critical part of this. You are a completely different human being than I am, but we have these things that we love together, and that's where the magic is, in those things that we love together.
Yep. And we are the best travel partners ever.
We travel easy. We travel light. Angie picks out awesome Airbnbs, so we don't have to take a lot of clothes, and we have a washer and dryer. So we're carry-on people.
Yes.
We don't check any luggage, and we take a small check bag, and we could be good for 10 days because we check into awesome Airbnbs, and we just don't need a lot. So we're very simple. We're very different. We're very unique, and we're very individual. But there's a few things that when we come together in those activities, Jazz St. Louis, going to a show, going to the theater, traveling, being on vacation, in our service to our clients, we're untouchable.
Oh, absolutely.
We're untouchable. We're unbreakable.
Yep. And we allow, neither of us want the other to experience stress or struggle, and we don't put that on each other anymore. Whereas we used to. We used to so much, and now there's no amount of pain that I ever want to cause this.
And vice versa. Yeah. I mean, why would I want the person I love the most in the world to struggle in any single way?
I wrote that in a Facebook post one time.
Even if it's for my benefit, I don't want her to struggle so that I can be okay. That's very unhealthy.
That's manipulation.
That's very unhealthy selfishness. Yep. And what did you just say? It's what?
That's a manipulationship.
It's not a relationship.
A relationship.
When you're trying to get somebody else to satisfy your needs and your wants, that's a manipulationship.
Now, if you're stating what you need, that's different. But if you're just, if it's unspoken, then that's a manipulationship.
Yeah.
But we're pretty good together.
I think we do a fine job in this world. And I still think we're just getting started.
I think you're right.
Holy crap. Yeah. We got a lot of good to do in this world.
We do.
We're pretty cool together. The key insight that I wanted to share in this podcast, and I didn't share any of this with Angie. She didn't know what she was stepping into. I just said, "Hey, let's go jam."
That's part of being with an entrepreneur. I have an idea. Oh shit.
Yeah. And she grabs on her chair and starts white knuckling, right? 95%, maybe 90% of our lives, I'm my own person and she's her person. And about 10%, I'm just estimating, but there's a fraction of our life where we are together and we are doing something united, unified, and together. And where back in the day when old Mike and Angie, we tried to smash everything together, and we always tried to make everything fit together, including you need to be social because I'm social. You need to be in solitude because I'm in solitude. You need to watch these sports because I watch these sports. It was all about trying to get the other to be exactly who we were, instead of allowing them that 90% or whatever of their life where they're just an individual being themselves. Allow them to be that, because that's what lights them up. Yeah. Then when we come together, we've merged these magical things so that when we're together doing those activities, we love those, and like we just go full bore at them. The theater, travel, we're awesome travel partners. So it's when we built when we, I guess, early in our lives, we tried to merge our identities. And we were married, but we also tried to merge our identities to become one person and get the other person to be, to be a snapshot. But you know what? There's 8 billion people on the planet and we're all different. And when we honor our uniquenesses and our own desires, my desire is for peace. My desire is for silence and solitude and inspiration and creativity and teaching. And Angie has different ambition. So she allows me to be who I am and I allow her to be her. And I also, I support her and encourage her to be more of herself. And she does the same for me. And that is how we rebuilt our relationship. And that's why we show up so powerfully. Anything else you want to share?
No, this was fun.
It was a good episode. You didn't know what you were walking.
I did not.
You willing to do this again and before episode 200?
Of course.
All right, guys, thanks for jamming with us. We vow to do this a little more. We're gonna, in our basement, we're gonna get some real setup so that we can do some podcast episodes where it's not one microphone, two people sitting next to them. But yeah, we have a lot to share with the world.